You know, on the re-edit, you should go back,
James,
re-edit it real quick, like ghost
ever,
re-edit.
Ever, yeah, ever be a re-edit of any of our episodes. Ever,
Yep.
ever,
Yes.
ever.
Want to ring the bell?
I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
I'm a loner, Daddy. Rebel.
I am the walrus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to John Hates Movies, the movie review podcast where my friends stop me from inexplicably designing an evil master plan that involves me dressing in drag for no reason, and instead forces me to watch movies. This week we have with us Eric Largent.
Tellio.
We have Chris Arsenault.
Normally I have a witticism about the movie, but I honestly can't remember a goddamn thing.
We have Colin McMillan.
I'm sure I'm delicious.
And we have James Barrup.
I regret so many things.
That was good. Yes.
That works as an opener for any episode.
So, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are curious as to what we may have watched, the answer is the Boxtrolls.
We may have watched it. We also may not have.
I'm pretty sure we actually did watch this. Or at least I did. When a cruel exterminator tries to destroy the band of impish creatures that adopted young orphan eggs, he and a bold rich girl come to the rescue. Starring Isaac Hempstead Wright, Ben Kingsley, Jared Harris, and directed by Gran Annabelle and Anthony Stocky.
Okay, that description is just confusing. Let me tell you why. It says, when an exterminator, he and the rich girl come to the rescue. And I read that like 4 times, and I could not figure it out. There's too much in the Netflix description of this movie that depends on you having seen the movie to understand the description.
Yeah, they shouldn't name check the boy. They should just say young orphan.
A young orphan.
A young orphan boy is raised by impish creatures and then stops them from being exterminated.
There
you
go.
go.
Well, I'm glad that you weighed in here, James, because this was your film, which means you get to go first.
Yes, I do. I wrote an essay.
Oh,
Really?
Yes.
Hear that page?
What's your essay's name?
Yeah, shaking the paper like you're fucking Rush Limbaugh.
Yep. I have papers here. That's a bad Rush Limbaugh.
They would have us believe. They would have us believe.
They would have you believe that we don't have any evidence. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got it right here.
Can you sound fatter? Is there any way to sound...
I've got it right here.
Bamster was not in fact born in the United States, but in Hawaii. How dare he use Sledgehammer for his theme, by the way? How dare he?
Well, he uses many different songs as his theme. That just happened to be the one that entered that clip. But still, yeah. Yeah, Sledgehammer is all about Peter Gabriel's dick, and
Which I
Rush
guess...
Limbaugh should be nowhere near it.
Yeah, exactly. Rush, what are you trying to tell us?
It is. Look up the lyrics.
I don't doubt it, man.
I don't.
Next, Rush Limbaugh is going to come into Love Gun because
That's all about Paul Stanley's dick.
Love Gun. Or maybe he'll come into Stroke.
Billy
Stroke.
Squires.
The Stroke by Billy or what?
Billy Squires. Yeah.
Billy Squire.
Yep. Billy Ying Yang. I don't know.
Stroke me. Stroke.
Wow. Didn't know Rush Limbaugh had such a dick fetish.
Are you surprised?
Not really.
You are what you eat.
Whoa! Bamster.
So Boxtrolls.
I'm not sure he eats them. I think he just keeps them in his cheeks like a
He's
squirrel.
got him in the jowls, saving him for winter.
Exactly.
My jowls are full of nuts.
My jowls are full of Confederate flags.
All right, enough with the political humor. Let me inject this with some class. Like I am a white hat. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I feel we have been spoiled with the recent spate of children's movies. When compared to movies of any other type, if we were to be honest with ourselves, most of the movies that have come out of Pixar and DreamWorks sit on a scale ranging between really fucking good and goddamn amazing. Having said all that, Boxtrolls is a movie that is pretty good. It's not the funniest and not the most nuanced, nor highly symbolic. However, it does have its moments, and the story is simple yet engaging. The biggest crime this movie commits is its use of cheap jokes like jelly and cheese, the English equivalent of lol pancakes, monkey, doom trout, raffle random.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Now on to what I loved about this film. The art direction was amazing. The movie was completely stop motion, though I had no idea that going in, mainly because the movie did not look all clay, nor wood, nor plastic, nor any type of singular structure. All the characters looked unique and interesting, and their textured skin and watery eyes made them believable and added to their charm. Even though the animation was sometimes jerky, the expressions were awesome, especially during a titular scene directly mirroring Mr. Creosote in Monty Python's Meaning of Life.
Yes.
Overall, this movie has many lessons that it tries to pass on to the viewer. You are not your clothes. You make you. Proper etiquette is important. And most of all, one should not aspire to rise above their station.
Ooh.
But in all seriousness, the lesson that I feel that is most important is to not let fear guide you. I have a cat. Yeah, I know I've brought this up before, and I understand that cats are like genital herpes. Many more people have them than you would realize, and very few people would actually like to hear about it.
Wow.
So go ahead and tell us about your genital herpes, James.
Yeah. So
Segue.
but however, if you bear with me, I'm bringing up my cat for a reason that will become clear not too far from
Unlike
now.
the genital herpes, ha ha ha.
Unlike the
this
yeah.
cat nonsense will clear up in time.
But anyway, so to say, I have a cat, and this cat has no fear, and because of that, he lives a better life than most cats. As a matter of fact, the only thing that scares him to the point of scurrying, like most cats, are those great rumbling beasts that meander around our neighborhood, otherwise known as cars. Our cat is brave, so he is chill, so we can do more things with him, like take him on walks, visit family, and take him on unboxed open car rides. He likes to sit on the little armrest there. On a recent trip, he was riding on the armrest, looking out the windows of the car, and he was transfixed by the other cars running alongside. That's when it hit me. Where other cats would stay at home, hurtled away from the beast, he gets to run with them. So really, all of this just to say that, when it comes to my cat, if anything, I could say that this cat is rare. But I thought, nah, forget it. Yo host to Bel Air. I pulled up to the house about 7 or 8. Out to the cat. Yo host, smell you later. Look at my kingdom. I was finally there to sit on my throne as a Prince of Bel Air.
I don't think that's the only time we've made that.
No,
joke.
it's happened before. James has succeeded at that shit before.
Well, James, despite that little end bit there, that is probably the most coherent I've ever heard you on this podcast. So kudos.
It was like a different show altogether.
So who wants to go next? Who wants to talk about Boxtrolls?
I have a couple questions for you all.
Oh, yes.
Did anyone else think that the girl was a bit of a
Pizza.
Another question. When the giant roll of cheese fell into the water, did anyone else think now it's a sea brie?
Oh my god.
No, Chris, I didn't think that.
That's
Well, now you have.
Yeah. To answer your first question, I thought she was a little bit overwhelming at first, but I mean that was the character. She mellowed out, you know.
She did mellow out through the movie, and she became a lot less caustic. But her introduction, she was
my favorite character.
Horrible. So anyway, okay, so one of the things I'm not a huge, and this kind of bothers me a little bit in general about more than just this movie, but I'm not a fan of fear mongering.
Okay.
Like, the introduction of this movie was like a political thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just this fear-mongering to get your way and massive, get the masses behind you because, the singularity of fear.
Yeah.
I am, however, a huge fan of cheese.
Then this is the movie for you.
I loved the cheese puns. They were... pretty cheesy.
Did you think they were any Gouda?
they were pretty cheesy, but I wouldn't say any of them were very punishing.
Oh,
there you go. I marveled at the Boxtrolls. They're smart enough to fix a clock, but they stole a wheel off of a cart and not the whole cart.
They needed that wheel.
They could have had two. And something to carry stuff in. Later, they steal a wheelbarrow, so they get the concept.
Maybe they just have trouble with things with more than one wheel.
Touche.
I feel like
maybe they're mono wheel centric. That could be.
I feel like Boxtrolls have problems thinking ahead.
They're mono-wheelists.
There you go. Their deity is the mono wheel.
Yeah.
Mono wheel.
All hail mono wheel.
Yeah, there you go. Something that irked me. Music boxes, the wheel itself does not reverse. He spins, he winds up the music box and the whole wheel rotates backwards. That's not how it happens. It spins the key, it turns a spring, and then the wheel plays forward.
Oh, I see.
Otherwise, it would play the tune backwards.
Right. And then, which would, then the Boxtrolls would all worship Judas Priest.
Right.
Yep. Kill yourself.
So that's what I was saying. The movie had this weird socio-political concept of, fear-mongering to get your way and controlling masses through fear, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It also had this weird social commentary about military forces policing foreign denizens. With the perception being that the military force self-possessed as the hero, with the denizens being the enemy.
Yeah.
There's definitely like a very much a modern war on terror kind of feel.
Yes.
So what was going on, like war on drugs, war on terror.
Where and they constantly threw it in your face with, are we the bad guys?
Well, definitely the good guys, right?
I'm like 80% sure we're the good guys.
Well, yes.
I'm not a stooge.
It was a very interesting movie, more so in a lot of good voice actors.
Oh, yeah.
I
really
agree.
Incredible animation, especially considering it was full claymation. Yeah. But I wasn't a fan. It's not a movie I would bother watching again. That said, I personally can distinguish between a movie I don't like and a bad film. I wouldn't say it's a bad film. I just didn't like it, John. Because the movie had its own traits, but like I said, I was not a fan. It's not even something I would really suggest to people. And yes, why the fuck was he cross-dressing for no fucking reason? It was really weird.
Some things you do for goals, other things you do for fun.
Well, no, and
There's
it was another
work there.
Yeah, it was another mechanism for him to
up his station in life.
Well,
yes,
and to drive fear into people about the Boxtrolls.
Right, because he was perpetuating the mythos by the yearly storytelling.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you there.
Madame Frou-Frou also represents a big part of what Snatcher wants to be, that because she has the adoration of the aristocracy, and that's like his entire motivation.
So he puts on a dress, so it's all symbolic?
Well, I can take this more, if you're not done, I can take this more in detail when it's my turn.
Well, give me a moment. To end my review, I will discuss the end of the movie.
Okay.
I found the explosive ending to be tasteless.
Jeez, that's bad.
Oh boy.
That's bad.
Oh boy.
That said, I saw they led up to it and kept on he's gonna explode. I'm like, oh, I'm like, as soon as he started rumbling, I'm like, I wouldn't be in that room.
Right.
And then they pan out and out of the fucking tower. That was just disgusting.
Well, but
it looked like a
that
cheese
was
fart.
so disgusting.
Well, yeah.
He
It
turned
wasn't.
into a giant cheese fart.
It was like curds and blew away.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
How do I get to curds away? Milk turns into it.
that was the best line the whole
I
movie.
appreciated that little moment. That was lovely.
I'm sorry, I love their faces when, like, when she bites his hand and he's like, "You bit me with your mouth," and her face after that is like fucking perfect, and their face looking at each other as he's about to explode is like just more perfect on perfect.
Like the animation on Winifred Portley Ryan's face alone in this movie is just amazing because they gave her so many priceless expressions. Like, she looks like a cartoon character, but she makes expressions like a real person. And I continuously notice that. So I'm definitely with you there.
Might as well build a children's hospital.
Yeah, that was another good
fucking
line.
great.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. There were some good lines, and the animation was amazing. I didn't care much for
cool.
it. The story was kind of so-so, and not my cup of tea.
Basically, the story of Boxtrolls isn't even that different than the
brie.
Smurfs. It's like, there are Smurfs, and Gargamel wants to get them. Like, that's the story behind Boxtrolls also. It's like, there are Boxtrolls, and a bad man wants to get them.
Gargamel wanted to smoke them.
He wanted to eat.
He wants to turn them into gold.
Sometimes he wants to eat them.
Yeah.
Very
I thought that
rarely.
too.
He usually wants to turn them into gold.
He wants to get them.
Because
He has a
Smurfs are
cat,
how
too.
they have...
To be fair, though,
Yes?
in this movie, the
Snatcher.
Snatcher.
I can't. Yeah, I knew it was
No
Snatcher.
subtlety.
Yeah, Snatcher was much better at catching the Boxtrolls than Gargamel was ever at catching
Yes,
the
that's
Smurfs.
true.
Snatcher actually managed to catch some Boxtrolls.
Yeah, that's because Snatcher had me on his side. Yeah. Nicolas Cage is my biological father. Yeah.
Acquire
He had
them.
my favorite line in the whole movie. That was like, okay, I watched it twice, and both times I laughed. I like bust out laughing at that box troll was mad. Like, I don't know why. Like, it just got me both times.
Leeches.
Quietly.
I'm swinging on a chain.
Yeah, I'm coming to Tucson next week. Everybody go get pregnant. Yeah.
Such a weird choice.
But it worked.
In your
I mean,
office? Can I use your computer?
How else are you gonna do it?
That was the sound of me pointing at my microphone.
Right.
So, Chris, are you pretty much wrapped up then? Colin, you have some things to say, don't you?
Sure do. When I started working on this podcast, I told myself I was going to watch every movie twice so that I could just sit back and enjoy it and then look at it from a more analytical standpoint. I have not.
Bullshit.
I remember I did that with Untouchables because I thought that it was my fever that made me think it was a shitty movie, and then I rewatched it, and to my disappointment, it was not the illness, it was just the truth.
It turned out that the movie gave you the fever.
The movie made me sick. I did watch Boxtrolls twice, though, and I really, really enjoyed it. This is probably going to be in your top 5 strangest movies that you've ever seen, unless you have deliberately sought out super strange movies.
Hi.
And I have.
I said hi.
Yes. James has really seen weirder. But, this is a pretty weird movie. In the first 5 minutes, the first time I was watching it, I was just kind of it gets to the point where he's talking through the little mail slot, and he's like, they'll come for your cheese. And the guy has this, really visceral fear reaction. He, gasps, and I'm going, what? Because they don't give you any tools to process what the setting is like prior to dropping these things on you. It's these people value cheese more than anything. Hell, I mean, we don't even know if there's currency in this world, but there's certainly cheese. It's already been mentioned, and I will say again, the animation in Boxtrolls is the best I've ever seen of this type of animation. If they top this, if they come up with a stop-motion animation movie that looks better than Boxtrolls, I will be seriously impressed. Because I really was actually continuously amazed throughout watching it at how good it looked. Very rarely do you have a reminder that it's actually stop motion and not CG or something like that. It's very smooth. One of the things about the setting is for a minute I thought that everybody was just in the Matrix or something. because the setting was so bizarre. And they didn't talk about anything. Like, there seems to be ostensibly no world beyond the town of Cheesebridge, which is on this really strangely shaped mountain or something, you know. And it's just, the setting is so absurd that I was like, they're all gonna like wake up and realize that the real world is where the Boxtrolls live, and like they all just have been eking out a petty existence in this made up world called Cheesebridge. I thought that Ben Kingsley was really good as Archibald Snatcher. But I was thinking about what, Eric, you were talking about, Nick Cage and Liam Neeson and how they're just making movies.
Yes.
And I feel like Ben Kingsley is quickly entering that category.
Oh,
yes,
like,
but most of his are a lot better than either of theirs.
Oh, yeah, he does great work, but it's just like Ben
he
Kingsley
also
and
does
everything.
shit movies, too.
Oh, yeah, but some of even those, like, low shit movies are actually not that bad.
Yeah, but he's making movies.
Yep. Yeah, he's just making movies.
Yeah, he runs the gamut of bad and terrible and good and whatnot, but he is a capable
Another
actor.
guy that's doing that exact same thing, and everybody's giving him a pass for some reason, is Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
Morgan Freeman is just making movies.
Dude, and
like,
I mean, greedy and lazy.
He hasn't done anything meaningful in a movie in like 15 years.
He just shows up in a movie.
But he's been in like 100.
Yeah, he
I'm
just
serious.
shows up on the set of a movie and is like, I'm
serious.
Morgan Freeman, and I'm in this movie. And
and everybody takes him seriously because he carries himself so well.
Was God.
And
you
hasn't,
have to take him seriously.
Yeah.
He's been the guy. He's been God. He's been the president. You know.
But he's the same guy in all those roles.
Yeah.
He shows absolutely zero range. Like,
Right.
It was like after Shawshank Redemption, he was sort of like, well, you know, I don't really got to do any acting anymore.
Yeah, Shawshank
Ben
and Glory.
Kingsley shows range.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Every Ben Kingsley role is markedly different than the last one.
Yeah, and please don't get me wrong. I am not dogging Ben Kingsley. Like, I was thinking about Hugo, and he was really great in Hugo. And then I was thinking about Iron Man 3, where he's like...
I was going to say, he pretty much played the same character in those movies.
But, I don't know, like...
I'm joking,
I
of
was gonna
course
say,
they're completely different.
I know, like, and so while listening to him be Archibald Snatcher, I'm like, you know, I give props that Kingsley does the work like that, because
I had no idea he was Snatcher. I thought he was Portly Rind.
No, he's Snatcher, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
Portly Rind looks
Snatcher.
just like Ben
Yes,
Kingsley,
he does.
though.
And
He was Snatcher.
And so like that's one of the things about a lot of the times with animated movies when they cast famous people is they just make the character sort of like that person, and they're like, just be you because you know we want it. Because
not this.
No,
Not even part of the reason that happens is because when they're doing the voiceover work, they motion capture their faces and they port over the facial features to the character.
But I give Kingsley props because you know he's a pretty big name, and you could really just be like, hey guys, Ben Kingsley is in this movie, so you should watch it. That would be fine. But like he does a very not Ben Kingsley character as Archibald Snatcher, such that you would never even know it's him.
Fucking gross.
Right? Yeah, it was fucking disgusting.
It starts gross and just gets grosser through the entire
I think that's probably part of why I didn't like it. It was just, his character especially was just
he's
grotesque.
like a continuously escalating episode of Double Dare, you know? It's just like by the end they're just like, more slime! You know?
So that's why Mark Summers quit.
Too much slime. I dream about slime. And Snatcher, okay, so there's a formula at work in this movie, which I call the Lemony Snicket formula, where the only smart characters in the entire movie are kids. All the adults are stupid. And the only reason the villain is at all effective is because he is marginally less stupid than every other adult.
Yes.
That flies.
Because Count Olaf in A Series of Unfortunate Events is like, it's exactly the same thing as Archibald Snatcher. I think that I like Boxtrolls more than Lemony Snicket, although I did like that movie. But even down to like him doing the play at the end of Unfortunate Events, and like all the adults are talking about it like it's high art, but it's just absolute fuck all dreck, you know. And they have the same thing, and it's like, here's Snatcher just obviously in drag, and all the adults are just fawning over Madame Frou Frou. Like, he doesn't even have a good fake name for his...
Well, he was completely obvious because, like, as soon as you see Madame Frou Frou, you're like, Madame Frou Frou has the exact same body type as Snatcher.
Body type and teeth, Yeah.
So, Colin, while you were talking there, you missed. James just had an earwig crawl on his hand, and he flipped out. Rightfully.
Earwigs are fucking gross.
Yes.
I would flip out too.
Yeah. It was interesting.
So, listeners, on the page, share your opinion. How bad would you freak out if an earwig crawled all up in your business while you were doing something else?
All James did was go, which is actually pretty controlled.
It's a good controlled reaction. A couple other quick things. I don't want to go too deep into all the stuff that I wrote. Crying babies make me really upset. So, like, there's a part where, like,
Always.
baby Eggs was crying, and I was so sad. I can't remember.
Oh, that kind of upset.
I'm bothered by crying babies, like, because I get very alarmed for their safety. Like, I think
babies cry for no reason.
Yes,
generally.
yes, they do. They cry because they're babies. I mean, like scenes like all the stuff with little baby Eggs, and whenever he's crying or whatever, I'm like stop. I did really like the stuff between Eggs and Fish, and I like the whole themes of fathers and children and stuff like that. And I identified 3 major themes of fathers and identity, like how they're all their names are their boxes. So if they lose their boxes, they don't know who they are. Their entire identity is defined by what it says on the box. So, and like the bit with social status and everything and all that stuff. I really like this movie a lot. I really enjoyed it. Although I do agree with the whole, who was it who mentioned the jelly and cheese thing being sort of like James?
Me. Yeah.
Particularly like the jelly thing. It's especially if you're using Simon Pegg. It's like, come on, like, I think you could do a little bit more with Simon Pegg than just having him say jelly over and over again. Like, but I mean, believe it or not, he's done comedy before.
Really?
He could do more than that. At least that character developed, like, had more depth as the movie went on, because I'd say that probably that character was my least favorite part of the movie. I did think Ella Fanning stole the show as Winifred Portly Rind. I thought she was awesome. So I disagree with Chris on that. I would recommend Boxtrolls if you want to see something like really weird and fun, very off the wall. A lot of good laughs, amazing animation, and I liked the IT crowd, so hearing that guy's voice, Moss from the IT crowd, like, I recognized immediately. We are the exterminators!
Oh, that sounds like we're bad. We're the exterminators of justice.
Richard.
Justice!
Richard Ayoade.
Yep.
Yeah, Richard Ayoade. Yeah, he
funniest guy in the room.
Yep.
Always.
Yep.
Yes. And he's
I've come here to kick ass and drink some milk, and I've just finished my milk.
That's a guy who like really understands his niche. Like he knows what he's there for. And he's really funny in this too. Like he's still the funniest guy in the room. Although he and Nick Frost are really I loved the Henchmen. I thought they were really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thumbs up from me for Boxtrolls. Watch it if you want to watch something kooky.
Okay.
Well, I can go next, Johnny.
That leaves you, Eric.
All right. Well, so James, this is what your like 3rd or 4th selection on the podcast. You did Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Did you do Golden Child?
No.
Okay. You did the Headhunters.
Yep.
Anything else?
Something
that's
really
right.
early. I used
it was Wolf of Wall Street was yours.
Yep. Oh, so 5 then, because I also did Dust Till Dawn.
Don't worry.
Okay.
I'll correct you.
Yep.
Roasted.
So at times you've been self-conscious about the movies that you've picked,
Yeah.
And I've got to tell you,
happens so rarely.
I got to tell you, dude, I absolutely fucking loved this movie.
Oh, yay! Woohoo! And it's animated, which is unique.
Yeah,
for Eric.
Yes. Okay. So you lead me to one of the points I wanted to make. I often avoid animated movies because they tend to be very, very emotionally manipulative. Animated movies just stick the knife in you and then keep twisting. And, like, just to try to get you to cry. Like, and it's...
You'll be in my heart. Damn you, Phil Collins! I should be crying at apes!
like people talk about how they feel when they watch WALL-E and how much they cry. Yep. People talk about how much they cried when they watch Up. So I am not going to watch WALL-E or Up. I haven't. I may someday, but I have no interest in watching something that I perceive to be emotionally manipulative. And this movie was not emotionally manipulative, and I really appreciated it.
You are correct there.
They didn't just like try to make you cry because they could.
And it would have been easy.
Yeah, there are a couple points they really could have pushed it. You're right, they didn't.
Yeah, and I really, really appreciated that. Like everybody else has said, the animation in the movie, absolutely amazing. There were times when I was like, I can't tell that this is stop motion. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah, it really is.
I could, but I also watched it down here. So like 110-inch screen. So. Nice. So think about that. How much more grotesque an exploding person is when it's that big and in your face.
Oh, when he comes out of the behemoth. Which was another great pun.
Behemoth.
So one of the things they did really well in the beginning of this movie is established the Boxtroll culture.
Yeah.
Like the way, so they come out at night, they steal some stuff, they've got their vacuum tube that lifts them up into the sewers and lets them get up on the streets, and they steal some stuff, they take it back downstairs, or back down into the, deeper parts of the sewer and build stuff. But also, you can tell that they have a real sense of community where, they mourn when their people get caught and taken away. And also, they're just really happy to see each other. Like when Eggs comes back from some adventure that he does, and Fish and all the other guys, they've got this move where when they're happy to see you, they like something, they tap on their box, and I absolutely loved that.
I'm glad.
I absolutely loved when they tapped on their box like that.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because they never tell you. Like, they don't hold your hand through that. They just show you. Like, Boxtrolls, when they're happy, they tap their box. Like, it's so great. And
they all retreat into their box pile to go to sleep at night, and it's really cool. And a lot of the way they, learn and teach each other is through music and, building musical instruments, and it's really cool. Well, one of the things I just absolutely loved about the movie was Boxtroll culture. I thought it was great. They like to build machines and hang out with each other. So, it was sweet.
Steal shit.
Well,
not quite. To be fair, if it's in the trash, it's up for grabs.
No, I know. Yeah. They steal trash.
Eric, were you disappointed not to see any Boxtroll truckers?
That's for the sequel.
No, the Boxtrolls were great. So that's really most of what I have to say about my opinions of the movie, because I absolutely loved it. I just really liked it. I was happy to go along with the ride. I was happy that they didn't manipulate me, and the animation was beautiful. So I'm going to read you guys a little bit of trivia, because I don't have a ton of review here. So because all the actors recorded their parts separately, Simon Pegg was initially unaware of his best friend Nick Frost's participation in the movie, and vice versa. They didn't know that each other were in the movie until they were in it.
What probably means that they both got a call back, and they weren't sure if the other one did, so they just didn't want to mention it.
That's a fucking episode
Till you run into each other in the hall. Oh,
right.
Guys, this is great. I've been really busy, that's why I haven't returned any of your calls.
Right. Hey, best friend. Crazy meeting you here.
Crazy random happenstance.
More than 20,000 individual props were made for the movie. Wow. Yeah. The town of Cheesebridge is reported to be based on the town of Trowbridge in the county of Wiltshire, England.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 14 different fabrics in Lord Portly Ryan's white hat.
Wow.
Jeez,
wow.
Crazies.
So we mentioned Simon Pegg and Nick Frost before. This is the 7th film in that they've been in together.
I don't think they do films apart from each other.
Well, they do. Run, Fat Boy, Run.
Yeah.
Yeah. How to lose friends.
In my opinion, the low point in Pegg's career. Run, Fat Boy, Run. Also,
I don't think Nick Frost's been in any of the Star Wars.
Star Trek. Sorry, yeah, I said that wrong. That's about it. I loved the movie.
Yeah, that's cool. I know, oh, it's based off a real town. And I was like, yes, cheese roads.
It's based off of Cheese Town.
the other town it could be based off of, because it's like a mountain city that's out in the middle of a bay with just a causeway leading to it, is Mont Saint Michel in France.
France.
That would explain the cheesiness.
There's another bit of trivia. Do you know the first person to experiment with stop motion animation?
Not Jim Henson.
No.
Way before that. The first stop motion
Harry
animation
Housen?
was in the early.
Thomas said,
Oh no! He's doing it! Damn it! Fuck you! Thomas Federer. Same Thomas Federer.
Fuck you, man! You could have just kept your mouth shut, man. I forgot one of these assholes.
Somebody was gonna say who? You got
I almost had somebody. Damn it!
Everybody was thinking about
You didn't have anyone because you didn't have your car.
very
Damn
clever,
it.
James. Very clever. Almost.
Oh,
You're
one of
getting
these,
there. You're
was
getting
good
there.
stuff.
one of these days, gadget.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Well, it's a shame because we were all like really going along for a second. We were like,
Yeah.
we were like really there. Oh golly, James, I wonder who it could be. And then when you weren't answering, I was like, aha!
It had to be my facial expression.
No, I just
Oh, fuck.
once I
You
started
shouldn't have
thinking
been
of
waggling your eyebrows, James.
ask me who.
I wanted it too bad. Just like Archibald Snatcher. I wanted it too bad.
So I guess it comes down to me to kind of bring us home with Boxtrolls.
Yeah.
I did not like this movie.
What?
Yeah.
For once. High five, John.
It's okay to be wrong, John.
I have to agree, the animation in this is stellar. But I think I might actually not like this movie for the exact opposite reasons as to why Eric liked it.
Oh.
If I'm watching a kid's movie, what needs to happen to get me invested in it is my emotions have to be manipulated.
Oh.
Otherwise, I'm not along for the ride. I become painfully aware that this movie isn't for somebody my age, and then I don't enjoy it like I did with Boxtrolls. There was just too much going on here that I couldn't get into. I mean, I did really like the Boxtrolls, but I'm finding it interesting that for some reason, where the rest of you kind of refer to them as people, the way that they came across to me is that they were quite literally animals.
I don't know, because
I can see that. I think that's kind of part of the discussion.
They have empathy. They have empathy.
elephants.
They care about
I like elephants.
Dude, I'd watch a movie.
Yeah.
If this movie was about elephants, tiny elephants that live in boxes, it would be even better.
I wish Operation Dumbo Drop was on Netflix. Awesome.
They had a lot of very human characteristics, like appreciating music and empathy and care for their community and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that's true. But I mean, honestly, like all those behaviors really do exist in elephants. Elephants
Yes.
appreciate music. They mourn for their dead.
Yes.
They, for all intents and purposes, but
They get drunk.
They get drunk. They
They can't make machines though.
they make you
Yeah.
cry when when they're getting cuddled by their mommy through bars.
Oh God!
Oh, Jesus.
Why?
Talk
Why
about
would you
Dumbo.
go-
Oh,
Oh,
fuck.
God! Don't go to.
But anyway,
I used to watch that movie for the weirdness, but I had to always, stomach through the
but anyway, I mean,
heart-wrenching awful.
with Boxtrolls, I just didn't feel the connection to the creatures. So, like, all the triggers that are normally there for these kind of movies weren't there or were misplaced. Like, honestly, I have to say that 90% of people who make kids' films must have been abandoned by their dads at one point, because they're all about having no real relationship with your father.
All the best cowboys have daddy
Exactly.
issues.
And I think they might have been trying to go that route with fish and eggs, but I didn't feel like fish was really... You know what this reminded me of? This reminded me of a what the fuck Tarzan. Like, literally. Like, if eggs was Lord Greystoke, and the Boxtrolls were monkeys, and it didn't have this weird plot, it's basically Tarzan, if you really think about it.
It's a fairly good.
There was not a single banana. It is not Tarzan.
Okay, no, it is Tarzan. Now, the more I'm thinking about it, this is Tarzan. You've got the evil hunter. You've got the Boxtrolls, which are effectively animals, yet close enough that they, can do sign language and stuff like that. And then you've got the one boy who was raised as an animal, so has all the box.
That was another thing. He spoke really good English.
He has a speech impediment.
Yes, that was the most implausible thing.
Yeah. But anyway, okay. So the long and the short of it is that, yes, I did not really care for this. I don't think it was a terrible, like Chris, I don't think it was a terrible movie. I think that if you had kids, this would be a really fun movie for them to watch because if nothing else, it's like visually fascinating. And sometimes that's enough. Plus, it's got the right kind of kid jokes. A lot of visual, a lot of falling down and stuff like that. A lot of action happening. I don't think, however, this is one of those movies where if you had kids and you were forced to watch it 20 times a day, that you as an adult would enjoy it.
No, I could do that. I could totally do it. I could watch this over and over again.
That's why as soon as I watched it, I immediately got 3 people pregnant.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that's how you do it.
I think
the more I watch children's movies, though,
I think I've said all I really want to say about Boxtrolls. And we did kind of burn through this a little bit earlier, so I was wondering, earlier than expected, I was wondering if you gentlemen would be amicable to answer another one of Sean McMillan's perplexing platitudes of I gotta try to think of a better way, but
postulations.
Sure. Perplexing platitudes.
We need more P's alliteration.
We need
one moment though. I want to
preponderances.
Another thing about this preponderances. That's a
good perplexing ponderance.
Preponderances.
I like it.
Ponder this perplexing.
Is it just me, or do you watch like a lot of children's movies? Not okay. Let me rephrase that. Like me, do you watch a lot of children's movies? No. Now that you're this age, do you find that when you watch children's movies, you realize, wow, this isn't appropriate for children?
Oh yeah.
I was thinking, especially with Archibald Snatcher, when he backs the kid into the coat room and is pretty much about to murder the child by strangling him. I'm like, that's really he has the scarf and he's gonna smother this kid to death. I'm like, that's dark as fuck.
Right, suddenly the movie got closer to Silence of the Lambs.
Right. I'm like, and when you guys are saying watching this with your kids, I'm like, I'm not sure.
Actually, I think what it comes down to, specifically for me, and I've had this conversation with a lot of my friends that have had kids in their life. Mm-hmm. I think what's changed so much is our view of what is appropriate for children. I mean, I would never tell any of my friends ever how to raise their kids. But quite honestly, the shit that I grew up watching, stuff like The Last Unicorn, that is dark as fuck. And you know what? I don't think it really hit me. So I don't...
No, actually, I'll agree with that totally. I think as a child, you don't recognize how dark or how messed up a lot of things are.
Yeah, let them watch anything. They'll self-censor.
But that really wasn't so much my focus really was, do you find yourself realizing, well, this probably isn't child appropriate?
Yeah, but I think that's
sometimes
catch yourself in that moment. I'm not saying that means it's
like that long drawn out sex scene in Sherman and Mr. Peabody. I was like, this is a little.
That was a little uncomfortable for even me, but I was watching it with my grandmother.
Let's talk about a movie that is for kids. I mean, let's be serious here. It's for kids and adults, but it hit with children more than it hit with adults, and it has an implied blowjob scene in it that made me very uncomfortable as a child, and that's Ghostbusters.
Boy, I sure did not know what was going on in that scene when I was a kid.
I had no idea. I know the ghost was
it wasn't a ghost. It was it was Sigourney Weaver, wasn't it?
No, it was a ghost.
It was an ethereal, a pretty blonde lady.
Yeah, and Dan Aykroyd was having a weird sex dream, and that was the joke, but it was very uncomfortable.
Okay.
And
he was having a sex dream about a sexy ghost, and work was really getting
he's not
to him.
afraid of no ghost.
No, he's not. that's a pretty weird one.
Yeah,
you're
in
right, John.
Ghostbusters 2, where Bill Murray basically implies that, doesn't imply, it comes out and says, okay, which one of you is sleeping with it? And he's talking about the goo.
Yeah, and it's funny because the Ghostbuster movies are definitely fond childhood memories for me.
Yeah.
That's why I love them, because I loved them when I was a kid. But yeah,
so
ghost blowjobs and sex with a jar of goo.
Yeah. But the point that I'm trying to make,
which actually is a lot more like my adult life than anything.
but I think the point that I'm trying to make is that as adults, what we deem appropriate for children is more about us than it ever is about what the kid can handle. Because as a child growing up, there was a ton of shit that I sought out. And, I sought out scary shit. I sought out horror stories, and so I knew what was appropriate. But if I, as an adult, looked at me as a kid, I'd be like, dude, you shouldn't be into that stuff. It's going to fuck you up. And obviously it did.
And how right you were.
No, but I think what we deem is appropriate for our children has more to say about us as individuals than it does about what a kid can actually handle. All right, well, we'll take a little break. We'll do Sean McMillan's Perplexing Ponderance, and then we will do the game. Hi, I'm John from John Hates Movies. War, famine, disease, child hunger. These things are bad.
Forget all that! I'm Guy Fieri for John Hates Movies.
Hi, this is James from John Hates Movies. You might have heard an earlier version of this commercial where it was implied that we use underpaid third world child labor to produce our goods for the John Hates Movies merchandise store. This couldn't be further from the truth. We use unpaid college interns from the good old US of A to produce our goods. Thanks to Vlarf Staffing Solutions, we are able to give these budding youngsters the experience they need in order to be competitive once they enter the cutthroat workforce. And boy, will they need that edge, especially considering that they will be competing against unpaid college interns. Vlarf Staffing Solutions allows us to fill these necessary positions with their patented college-free eternity business model. Without their generous spirit, we would have to fill these positions with paid workers, driving the wage of all workers up. Ugh, no one wants that. These measures help keep costs low, meaning we could pass savings right on to you. We could, but we won't. Vlarf is also extending its charitable efforts to the underprivileged inner city kids by helping to provide competitive Tektronic scholarships. Competitive Tektronics is fast becoming one of the most popular competitions in America, and Vlarf University is always looking for skilled technicians to join our team. For the select few qualifying technicians, we will pay for 4 years of competitive college education and nothing else. Quite the deal considering how fast tuition rates are rising. All this assuming you don't get injured in a competition, and if you do, you can always become an unpaid college intern. On a related note, a whole 20% of our competitive science technicians made it through this season without getting horribly injured. So stay hopeful, recently drafted technician freshmen. You've made it in the top 20th percentile once. Here's to doing it again. So think of Vlarf Industries the next time you want to do something good for America. Vlarf. What's right is what's right for us.
Back. And like I said, we're going to try a new thing. We're going to try a perplexing ponderance. You too can also send in your perplexing ponderances. All you have to do is post a question that we actually want to answer on the Facebook page. So far, the only
good luck.
Yeah. So good luck, Troy. So far,
hey Troy, meet.
Sean has actually posted a couple of interesting questions that have gotten me thinking, and I feel that they're actually worthy of a response. So the first one that he did, we answered last week at the beginning of our Hunt for Red October. This one, Sean McMillan asks, so after recent reveals about next year's Ghostbusters remake, I'd like you guys to do something Ghostbustery. He's basically requesting that we do Ghostbusters 2 on Netflix, but he also wants to hear our thoughts on the new cast, crew, direction, writer for the new film. He says he never follows these people, but does it look like a sure winner or a sure stinker? And what he's talking about is the all-female recast. Some people are calling it a reboot. Other people are calling it a straight-up remake. And a few were actually just calling it Ghostbusters 3. What do we think?
So to me, it looks an awful lot like a reboot. Regarding the cast and writing team and director, Paul Feig, who's helming the project, actually has a pretty good track record. So I anticipate that I may like Ghostbusters 3 more than I liked the first Ghostbusters, because I hated the first Ghostbusters.
Setting the bar
That
pretty
is
low.
wrong.
Anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah, I will. So, in addition to Feig having a good record, Kristen Wiig has an excellent record for comedy.
Oh yeah. And Feig and Kristen Wiig did Bridesmaids.
Right, which man, like, I'm gonna. Okay, so you've probably heard from somebody that Bridesmaids is awesome, and you know what? It really was. It was a great comedy. And it also presented some material that you don't see very often, which is like about late millennial generation struggle for, like, Kristen Wiig's character is a mess in that movie. And if you've ever been a mess in your life,
that doesn't relate to me either.
Yes, none of us. We are all completely normal.
Right.
You got this great character in Bridesmaids that Kristen Wiig just performs masterfully of it. This person that, she's got no direction. Every aspect of her life is basically going nowhere. She has great friends, but she's kind of a loser. And she just captures that so well in that movie, and the frustration and all the nuance of that I with her at the helm, like, I'll basically go watch anything.
And Kate McKinnon is great too. I love her on Saturday Night Live, and she's in it.
I'm not as familiar with her.
I think she's hilarious.
McCarthy is hilarious. If you haven't seen The Heat, that's McCarthy and Sandra Bullock, both of whom are hilarious. That's a great movie. Good, like, buddy cop comedy. So I feel like Wiig and McCarthy have totally earned their stripes. I'm totally down with remake, reboot, whatever it is. I'm in. I think it's going to be great. There's been complaints about the new design of Ecto-1, but go with me on this. In the 80s, it was a car from the 50s. In 2015, it's a car from the 80s. The point is they have a shitty 30-year-old car as Ecto-1. I am way on board with the new Ecto-1. Like, drop the hate. This is going to be a lot of fun.
I'm not going to lie. There's a decent chance that I might actually like this more than the first one.
I'm kind of with you.
Because
I love the original.
I love the original too, and I think that, quite honestly, these women are fucking hilarious. Paul Feig has a really good sense of comedic pacing, and the thing that actually gets me the most intrigued about it is that Paul Feig and Kristen Wiig both state, we like Ghostbusters, we wish it would have been a little more scary. And I am all about that. Yes.
Oh. So we might have some actual scares.
Yes. Apparently, this is supposed to be a horror comedy.
Nice.
Man. Well, I'm really in then.
Yeah. And so I'm really, really super excited about it. And I don't even think the stink of Dan Aykroyd can affect this, because he is listed as one of the writers, and we all know that at this point he's well and truly nuts. I mean, he's kind of lost his fucking mind.
I hear he bathes in crystals.
He'll basically show up and blend a bass wherever you need him to.
So,
poor Dan.
Yeah, he's a little nutty, but I mean, honestly, I think we're in for an amazing thing, and I honestly think that this is well and truly going to be Ghostbusters for this new generation. You know what I mean? I think that this movie might very well affect them the same way that the original affected us. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the game. Thank you very much, Sean, for submitting that question. Greatly appreciated. If anybody else wants to pick our brains about something specific, feel free to drop it on the Facebook page.
And then regret
and then immediately regret it, because we're going to tandem the shit out of that. Yep. So, it is now time for the game, and James has the game. But before we start the game, I would like to announce that it is listener suggestion this week.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep.
If you'd like to see a nice list of a lot of our listener suggestions, you can go to johnhatesmovies.space and click on listener suggestions.
So it's not an actual space that you have to type out space.
SPACE.
Yes, the website just made a pass by Pluto, so
it's going to come back as Verger and
destroy us all.
By the way, folks, don't be shy about posting on the Facebook page. We love your involvement. So, like, whatever you want to say, even if it's nonsense, just throw it out there.
Rebecca Holmes, shout out. You made James's day yesterday.
Yeah, what up, bae?
So if anybody wants to hear my opinions on new Ghostbusters, just listen to the Comics Community Podcast number 29.
Fuck off.
That was actually already covered. Yeah. Pretty much.
Do they shout us out?
I do. On there.
Does it get edited out?
No, it doesn't. Actually.
Okay, all right. Well, then we can shout them out.
Yep. So, yeah. Basically, my whole thing was like... Yeah, I don't hate all girls. I kind of like it. But the thing that I hate was a month after they announced all girls are like, and Ghostbusters with all guys, and Ghostbusters dogs, and Ghostbusters babies.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah,
that was a huge gaffe.
That was fucking dumb.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because the only one that's making any press is this one, and this one's going to blow our socks off. So,
all right. So this is a game, and it has rules, and it's an elimination game. There is an order. The order doesn't necessarily. Yep. The order doesn't necessarily really. I'm not going to eliminate one of you for going out of the order.
I'm a werewolf.
Okay.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. I'm not going to eliminate.
All
right, sounds good. I'm not going to eliminate any of you for going out of order, but just so that you know, the order is Colin, Eric, Chris, John.
You're out of order.
Okay. Now, neither of you are wizards or whatever. Well, I guess you could be because you're all members of the White Hats.
Okay. Oh shit!
Add a cheese tasting.
Why's it gotta be white?
And because this is British, and I'd like to add a little bit of British class, I'm also going to add. Colin, you might know this game pretty well. Improv game. The Minister's Cat.
Oh, really?
Basically,
no shit.
Kind of close to the Minister's Cat. You have to start every sentence or utterance with a letter of. We'll start with A. Work your way through the alphabet. Every extra sentence after that starts with the next letter or utterance or what have you.
Hold on, let me write down the alphabet.
So wait, are we all British? Like, do you want accents?
Whatever you want to do.
All right.
Cheerio.
So you're at a cheese tasting. Like I said, first person has to start with A, the next person has to start with B. You can do two sentences as long as you say, or your first thing with A and then your second thing with B. Can be sentences. The last rule is that you can name the cheeses and you can name each other. Make it easier. So if you're stuck on a letter, however, if you take too long or you get something wrong, you're eliminated. You're done.
Oh man, this is freaking hard. So just to be clear, if somebody really starts out as loquacious and they do 3 fucking sentences, then the next person starts with D.
Correct.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Assuming that person actually did. All of you are a bunch of nerds, but I think you're good people. Chris is awesome.
Yep.
You know what? I'm not like your haiku. Give up right now because I know who's winning this fucking game.
Okay, James, when are we starting?
You may start now.
A fine brie, chaps.
Brie is my favourite of the cheeses.
God, Chris is out already.
No, yeah, I'll just be out. It's not that I can't do it.
So strong.
I literally can't do an accent right now.
You can just do English.
Yeah, you can just talk
normal.
yourself.
I mean, American.
Yeah.
Colin really feels old-timey cheese.
Doggerel. That's what I think of this brie. It's doggerel.
Enough of your bickering. Let's enjoy some camembert.
Fine camembert is my favourite of the cheeses.
Grape drink is my favorite thing to drink with Jesus.
However, if we're going to be pairing cheese with drink, we really should be pairing it with wine.
I do love a good wine.
Juniper berries. I love wine made from juniper berries. It's just the best.
Yeah.
I'm spelling the alphabet to Chris.
I wrote the alphabet down. I was not kidding.
Words are hard.
Karate is a hard word.
Lesson 1. Do not karate chop the cheese.
Men, if this cheese tasting devolves to another karate fight, I am leaving.
Now, if the karate fight gets out of control, I may jump in and officiate.
Opponents may fight each other with the cheese.
Personally, I think we've gone a little far afield. What a... Yes.
Keep going.
Yes. I would dare say that this is... Period. No. Crap, I'm done. I wanted to...
I think you accidentally a sentence there.
Quiet! Ready yourself!
Oh, was ready yourself the second sentence?
Yes.
It was.
Shucks, Colin. You've almost thrown me off the scent, but the scent of the cheese across the table is too great.
Tonight we shall have toast with our cheese.
Unacceptable.
Oh! Thank you. Verily.
Oh, John, you're out!
Wait, I'm out
John's
because
out.
I messed up my sentence.
You're out. You fucked up so bad. You were trying to sentence too hard there, bro.
Very well, lads. May we discuss things other than cheese?
Where will we discuss the cheese other than?
Okay, now if I'm gone, he's gone.
X-ray chamber.
You are going to go into the X-ray chamber? I don't think so.
Z-ray chamber.
Shit.
He's still in?
Yeah, that was great. That was great. Okay, we made it through the alphabet.
Well done, chaps.
So, Lord Portly Stump has entered, and I say, enough of your karate and your X-rays and your Z-rays. It is time to play the Minister's Cheese for an elimination round. This one is the same game, but you only have an adjective, and you clap to a beat.
I'm bad at English, man.
I'm out of this, right?
Yep, I was stuck. The Minister's Cheese is an awesome cheese.
The minister's cheese is a bountiful cheese.
Minister's cheese is a creative cheese.
Minister's cheese is a dank cheese.
Minister's Cheese is an excellent cheese.
Dank cheese.
Okay. If somebody makes somebody laugh, they should be out. Like the next person should be
good.
out. So I think Eric, you're
good.
done.
What?
Yeah.
No! Why did we talk about
You
everybody else?
I laughed, but I went. The Minister's Cheese is an excellent cheese.
But you're not playing.
Yes, I am. I made the round. Okay. Okay. We'll start on F.
Right.
If you make them laugh and they don't continue with the beat, they're
John,
done.
we have James. Essentially.
Okay, so is it back to me then?
Yes, with F.
The minister's cheese is a fragrant cheese.
The Minister's cheese is a great cheese.
Minister's Cheese is a holy cheese.
The minister's cheese, James went out of turn.
All right, I'm out.
Alright, so I'll go with I. So, the minister's cheese is an insidious cheese.
The minister's cheese is a jovial cheese.
The Minister's cheese is a hot cheese. Wait.
Oh, you're out. You're out.
I didn't write down the alphabet. I don't know.
All right, so we're at K. You and Colin.
The minister's cheese is a kindly cheese.
The minister's cheese is a lovely cheese.
The minister's cheese is a minister's cheese.
The minister's cheese is a Nancy cheese.
The minister's cheese is an orange cheese.
The minister's cheese is a pompous cheese.
The minister's cheese is a quiet cheese.
The minister's cheese is a respectful cheese.
Oh no.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
Sorry,
this is
the
the
idea
winner.
of a cheese being respectful, guys.
Or pompous, come on, man.
Dank.
Well done.
Dude, that's some dank cheese, bro.
Well done, Chris. You had the crack up. Chris got jokes.
Sir, I believe it is your turn to pick a movie.
Yeah, give me one moment so I can do this right and actually look at the
you
list.
said the minister's cheese is a pompous cheese, not pungent. Pungent was perfect. I want to be like pungent. I just wanted to shout.
Because I was about to say nasty.
Okay, so
the minister's cheese is a toe cheese. The minister's cheese is a dick cheese.
Oh, terrible.
The minister's cheese is a minister's cheese.
I know.
I did like that, actually.
It's certainly not a lie.
My choice is Automata.
And who's...
It looks like it was Ben...
Last name?
Failure.
Ben, insert last name here.
Ben
Automata is a Antonio Banderas film. It's from 2014.
Alrighty.
As long as we make sure that it's on Netflix.
I just did.
It is.
It's on.
Okay. All right.
Yep. All right. So you heard it here, folks. We are going to watch Automata next week.
Automata. Do 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 do.
Automata.
Do 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 do.
That was called Automata.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and have a wonderful night.
Automata.
A great big thank you to our staff graphic artist, Tabby Walters, the Weekly Cast, and our listeners. You can listen to our podcast on iTunes, the Stitcher app, through YouTube, or directly on our website. Feel free to send us a movie review suggestion. Every third episode is Listener Appreciation, where we choose from your suggestions. You can reach us through social media, either by liking our Facebook page, John Hates Movies YouTube channel, or following our Twitter at John Hates Movies. Our music was composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can find this track and many more on his website, Incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to hear someone say...
And then come back...
Who can say no to Mexico?
Donald Trump.
Well
That was incredibly well done.